Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, this April the 10th, 2025, noontime daily update in the cryptocurrency and the XRP sphere. Yes, it's chilly today with our weather update. Overcast, morning snow and lingering flurries and sprinkles with a current temperature under cloudy skies of 36 degrees. And just as the market has been very volatile with the tariffs are on pause, the markets dump, the markets pump. And today the markets are dumping, and we're going to go into why, because they're hitting technical levels. The news was set on an area where all the coins were at technical buy areas, and now they're just selling off those manipulated push to the upside. The stock market, after the best up day in recorded history, or at least the last 25 years, on the second highest percentage-wise in history for the NASDAQ and the Dow, they're down 3% and 4% respectively after having overbought back on the news, because it's just a pause, so you can only have so much buying. But old Vincenzo told you we were in this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We told you we're building a movement based on truth, trust, education, and information on days and weeks of volatility and extreme news. That trust and information and news gets put to the test to see if we're going to hold what we're practicing, what we're preaching. And again, we're industry exclusive, first mover advantage in the value of becoming members of Jabroni Killers. That bearish cross that we've been talking about is still in play. We were at a technical buy level, like we just mentioned in the intro, at the 73,899, where we had a double bottom wick there. And if we go into the hour time frame, I believe it shows it right there. You see that? So we were on a technical buy level on a double bottom, and then the news comes out with the tariff pause after the market 2 days ago, and then we have our rally. And we said off this rally, even before the Trump news came out with the pausing of the tariffs, we said off this bounce off 74,000 and change, a sympathetic rally or a textbook prototypical playbook bounce manipulated by the criminals, could come up as high as the 200 or possibly the 100-day moving average, which is descending because we're having bearish and golden bearish crosses. It's descending, but it's sitting there at about 87,900 and change. And we speculated that those are the two areas that you could come up to on this rally. And so far, we've gotten up to 83,633. Then we had a sell-off, which you would expect, because this was a prior consolidation level, as you can see that right there, right? So we had a sell-off. Now what you would look to see is, do you hold this and then have another leg to the upside and come actually meet this target up here? If not, you're going to come back and the full body candle style start straddling the 73,899.98 in the short term. If we look at the volume, we see the daily volume. Did we have anything out of the ordinary in volume yesterday? We had a pretty good candlestick in volume, but it's still well below even this descending volume here from the past 2.5 months, and much lower than the pre-pump volume that we seen when we had a steadily increasing and then two big pumps in volume close together right here when we peaked out on the right shoulder the first time, right? So everything's still in line that we talked about. The same thing with the XLM. We were telling you that we were having another prototypical, we're going to start with XRP though, a prototypical bounce back here, because we're in this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. The first mover advantage in the value of Jabroni Killers, identified it right there in this purple circle, gave you the first mover advantage by over 2 months out of the crypto sphere and in the mainstream. Told you we were going to have a bearish cross, and look at this. We're going to have the bearish cross, it looks like tonight. By tomorrow's video at noon, we should have that bearish cross. The 200-day moving average is running parallel. It'll start to run sideways. We breached underneath the neckline, which is the $2.09. You can see we've hit it multiple times. Back when the left shoulder was getting built, when we had our wick bottom in February, our double wick lows back in the end of February and at the beginning of March, and then the most recent cluster before we finally broke the neckline at 209. like we said we would. Then we bounced below it, wick below the 200-day moving average, and then look at what happened twice. We talked about there would be a sympathetic bounce back, and this is a playbook, and this is textbook, and it's been run beautifully, where you have the sharp decline, a lot of limit orders get hit below the neckline, then you have your buyback up, and then you hit it exactly on the neckline at 209 and change, and then you use it as rejection, and it's the classic hook nose bearish reversal pattern, and then you start maybe going down to some lower targets and getting closer to that technical target move of $1.26, and it's going according to plan. Could we still pump back up above the neckline briefly? Absolutely we could, but we again identified it, first mover advantage, the neckline 3 months ago where it was at, and 3 months into the future it is now, as predicted, starting to use it as resistance. And for as easy and to keep the momentum and building of the content of the education, trust, truth, and information, and changing the narrative and forcing other crypto insiders, influencers on the mainstream media or social media to go into truth, trust, and education. You, the audience, as we've broken 2,000 followers, subscribers, on our way to 5,000 and then 10,000 subscribers in the very near short term.
I'm not rocking a lot of
uptrend. Nobody cares in our channel.
AI
Thanks
stuff.
to you. The most important part of the channel is, get out of here, is you guys.
Now that's about
What is going on here today? The most important part is you guys, the audience, building this and pushing the narrative and forcing a change and educating and getting the information into the hands of the retail trader, the people that who I say work for, because that's who these videos are for, the retail individuals, families, just trying to make a little extra money or to get ahead. I am not a financial advisor. These are my only personal opinions, but you can hit that join button, become members of Jabroni Killers in the video description and or the pinned comments for as cheap and best value, industry cheap and best value of $3.99 a month. That comes out to $47.88 a year to build this truth and education and trust that you see in real time based on the results and what we're talking about here. A channel you can depend on to just give you the straight, honest truth. I will answer your questions as member of Jabroni Killers, talk about you in the videos, talk about the coins and the things that you want to talk about. For $47.88 a year, you can keep this channel growing and coming out free every day, or 13 cents a day. 13 cents a day to get the best cryptocurrency channel, continuing to make free videos each and every day, as it was, will continue to be, and has always been free. Peace and love. But as we get back into, and we're showing you the value, if it's worth 13 cents, I think these videos are worth 13 cents based on some of these predictions that we do. Some of the coins, we had some Jabroni Killer members ask something, I believe, in the community. View all. We'll go into the channel members. Called it perfectly. Oxeon had a 60% pump today. One of my main bags. Would love more updates on it. Thanks again. God bless. Garbanzo, member of Jabroni Killer. We're going to look at that right now. Oxeon, and this is the thing you get when you're members of Jabroni Killers. Not only are you supporting the movement, when you ask questions, you get first priority, because we have a growing member of Jabroni Killers, which I love, and it's great to see. But it takes sometimes a day or two to get to all the comments for each day because there's so many of them. But Garbanzo, I believe you might have been one of the ones that brought this up when we were way up here in this euphoric pump back here. I think it was, in February. We want to go into the hour time frame. I think it was back in February that Garbanzo, or another lovely Jabroni Killer member, brought this to my attention. And we identified that now was not the time to buy the pump. And I believe we were somewhere in here forming the left shoulder, but we already identified this rising channel that we were in. The time to buy is not after in this case, a massive, this might have been the 20x move. In a short amount of time, we pumped up, 20 times itself. That was not the time, and I was stressing that I never promote buying after a massive pump. There will always be a better buying opportunity. And then we identified this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern, and we had a target that we made at 0.015, or the top part of this purple trading zone, based on this head and shoulder. And I believe we made the predictions back here when the price was much higher than it is, still building out the right shoulder. And look at where we came down to. We came down beautifully to that target. You see that? And then we saw when you fulfill that target, you could have a bounce off of a major support level, potentially back as high as the 0.02, which is the upper resistance of the next trading area. And then it got rejected and came all the way down to a target that we had at the bottom part of this purple zone at 0.008015. And then it had a massive pump. And I believe we might have talked about this, but usually when they go on support on a level, it usually likes to pump from support in a quick pump fashion back up to resistance, which would be the top part of this purple trading zone. And if we look at it in the daily, you can see we talked about a golden bearish cross and a bearish cross. We have, I believe, officially had it, but because of the recent pump, it's going to be close. It might actually reverse itself. That we would have the golden bearish cross. We will still have it. It bounced off a major support level. The volume, we've had 2 straight days in uptrend in volume. The biggest volume we've had since the major pump. But notice the difference, the major pump volume right there versus the recent volume here. So we're going to see what happens the next 2 or 3 days is the volume just decline and crash back down to nothing. But what I'd be looking in the short term here, because we've hit our targeted move, is now on the upside here. Can you hold? This is going to come back, and it may have already done it because this is moving very fast. It's going to come back and have to try to hold support now on the top part of this major resistance because it's coming through it from below. It's got to hold this as support now if you want to continue to the upside. It's going to back test this, and it's got to hold it. It's got to do something like this and hold it and then start to trend back up. Or if it doesn't do that, it's going to get back below this box. And that 60% gain, it's going to get back below this, and it's going to get forced down, and it's going to eventually make its way back down at the bottom part of this purple trading zone. So the critical spot in the short term for XCN is 0.014 after the head and shoulders has been cleared. Garbanzo, we'll keep that 134. Thank you for being a member of Jabroni Killers. And I'll continue to keep track of this for you. Just respond to some of my lovely Jabroni Killer members, and each and every one of you are very vital and important. That's going to conclude this video. This is just a lunchtime update. It's getting very long. Like, subscribe, become members of Jabroni Killers. Comment down below. We'll have another nightly video tonight. Peace and love. The Rock Side, bro. Jay.